a theme, touchstone to recognize a standard by which we're recognized. Okay, we know who we are. There's a standard. We talk about the standard all the time. It's not just the way we perform on Sunday, it's how we go about our life on and off the field. We got to take advantage of every opportunity. Seize everything, man. Carpe omnia.
It's week number 10 of this NFL season and time for another edition of The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy here inside the Globe Life studio at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy as the New York Giants come to town for a 3:25 kickoff on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. And really, Coach, you look at this next stretch here. It's the annual part of the schedule here where you've got 3 games in the span of 12 days, 4 games in the span of 19 days. How do you handle that going in as far as practice is concerned?
Well, I mean, it's all part of, your training regimen and just forecasting. Obviously, been through it now a couple of years. So we're trying, some things a little differently this year prior to this stretch. Just trying to get ahead of it, as far as dealing with the extra stress, because as we know, it is additive and it definitely shows up in your training and how you train the team. So we took a lighter approach on Wednesday, but we'll go back to the padded work on Thursday and then finish, the week normally going into the Giants game. But we'll start to wean back as we get into November, December.
Coming out of the Philadelphia game, I sense positive vibes in that locker room this week, where it's like a sense of determination that, hey, we can finish this process. We can go from here and make a positive second half of the season out of this. Definitely,
I think it just points to our expectation. I mean, I think clearly after the game there was disappointment, and clearly being in position to win the game. But yes, I think the determination of the team and how they feel, as far as the path that we're on and how important it is to go get this division game, and turn the page. And I think the men have done a nice job of that during the preparation.
How about where the passing game is as you reach midseason here? You have 2 straight games where Dak's had over 300 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions the last couple of games. You think you're hitting your stride here at midseason?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we definitely have taken a big step. And what's exciting is we feel like we have more growth in the area of the passing game. And first, it starts with protection. Protection is the biggest change for us from last year. And I can't say enough about the players and coaches that, the extra time they put in. And we're going to be tested this week now against the Giants. So just, keep working on the protection adjustments and the things that we have in place. And then with that, the route running, the aggressiveness, and I think clearly you can see our perimeter group and Dak are on a good page right now.
Yeah, you look at this Giants defense. The guy that always stands out for me when I look at the Giants is big number 97 in the middle, Dexter Lawrence, who draws a double or triple team virtually every play. But what do you expect when you go up against a Wink Martindale defense?
Well, scheme. It's a game plan specific each week. So with that, when you look at them over a 5-week period or a 6-week period, clearly going into our opener and watching them on the whole course of the season, I mean, there's just a ton of schemes. So it's really down into how you think he's going to play you with your projection in that as far as how you're going to game plan. But this really comes down to us trusting our base principles and as far as how we run the ball, how do we deal with the multiplicity that we may see on Sunday, and no different in the protection game, which I've already talked about. So, yeah, this is going to be an excellent contest for us.
And, of course, Kayvon Thibodeau had 3 sacks a couple of weeks ago. Tyron Smith against Philadelphia, having him back in the lineup, he looks to be healthy again.
Definitely. I thought he played excellent. It's obviously to go through the week in the way he did and to go out and perform. I mean, I think it just speaks volumes about Tyron. So, yeah, I thought him and Tyler together, I thought that was the best that our left side has played.
All right. Just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah, but I mean, for us, as I've talked about it, it's about us growing, continuing to grow, and for us to get better. And the only way that does is if we go out there and take care of business in the manner that we expect to.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got to be consistent. We be consistent through any game. We can score with anybody. We got to capitalize on all our third downs, of course. I know that's a stretch, but we can do it. And we just got to outwill the opponent's offense or defense, if you will. We got to beat both of those guys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com. All right, coming off a game against the Eagles, you played them right down to the wire. Now you're sitting 2.5 games out of first place, but you got a team coming in here, the Giants, that you won 40-0 over in the season opener. They're starting a rookie, undrafted player at quarterback who's making his first NFL start. What's the biggest concern this team has?
Oh, if you ask Mike McCarthy that, I'm sure he told you this game's a lock. There's no issue whatsoever, I would assume. These are, when the fact it's a division opponent, I think changes the equation a little bit, because when you face a team 2 times a year, there's more of a history there, and the division game always takes a precedent in some respects over the other games. So you do have that to kind of cut the edge, but it's just human nature. You're not necessarily going to be all focused and ready to go and attention to detail when you won that easily the first game. You're going to have to fight through that, and that is a concern. Now, it was also 40-0. And since that time, they've gone to a quarterback who was undrafted, a rookie who will be playing instead of Daniel Jones. But this game's going to unfold much differently. You're not going to see the special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown early, I don't think, like you saw in that game. That's unrealistic.
And the Cowboys coaches can just go back and point to that Arizona game, see what can happen. All right, how about the run game for this team? Where do you think things sit with the run game right now?
Well, no one is pleased internally with where the run game is. They all acknowledge it needs to be better. This game and Carolina coming up, I think this is the stretch with 3 games at home and 4 games. It makes some sense to work on the run game. The issue on all this, you're always moving the pendulum a little bit, right? And now that the passing game is clicking, you don't want to ignore it to get the run game going. But I think emphasizing the run is what you're going to see here this week. Also probably getting Brandon Cooks involved a little bit more.
And as far as the run game is concerned, is it, you got Tony Pollard as the lead back. Do you think they need to see more of Rico Dowdle?
No, I think they need, if you're running the ball more, you're going to see more of Rico Dowdle. But I don't think it's just Tony Pollard loses touches because Rico Dowdle needs to be more involved. That's a different discussion in my mind. I think this is about getting more attempts in the running game. This is about, and from what I can tell too, I'm not so sure that they've left a lot of yards on the field in the run game. I think it's they're blocking, getting to that second level. I think that's probably where the emphasis is on getting better as they move forward.
All right, David Moore, the Dallas Morning News. We appreciate it. Up next here on the Mike McCarthy Show, how about that place kicker out of Plano, Texas? We hear from Brandon Aubrey when we come back.
This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. And now, time to take a listen to a guy who has started his NFL career making 19 out of 19 field goal attempts. That would be the Cowboys place kicker, Brandon Aubrey.
I don't think anything can quite prepare you for the media attention that the Cowboys get, but I did have a little bit of practice of it in the MLS, and I matured a lot through my time failing in the MLS, and then figuring out what it meant to succeed in the USL and the USFL. So I was just happy for the opportunity. I was going to speak my mind and tell my truth and just tell my story and go out there and not be afraid to make mistakes. He holds a lot of weight in the building. And for him to go out to the USFL and pick out a guy like me with my story, it means a lot. Maybe other special teams coaches wouldn't have the ability to really put a name in like Brandon Aubrey and my background with my story and have an organization go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And I know he was patient with me in camp because I didn't have the greatest of camps. He kept believing in me and kept putting me out there, and eventually I proved him right, and that makes me pretty proud. Yeah, I'd say no. Not something that was ever on my radar until we got kind of close to it and the media started mentioning it, and something that I never really gave a second thought to. It's just want to go out there and make one kick at a time and keep stacking those performances up and make yourself undeniable for the job. So that's something that I've been focusing on, is just going out each and every day and doing my job and slowly earning that confidence and trust.
Brandon Aubrey and the Cowboys taking on these Giants, and we now have Will McClay with the telestrator. We're going to show you some highlighted players on the New York Giant defense, and when you look at the film, you look at number 97, the big guy right in the middle there, Dexter Lawrence.
You can't miss him. 6'4", 340 plus, got 35-inch arms, and he is a really, really good player. He's got 3 sacks this year, had 7.5 last year. You're going to look at it. 2 of those take up 4, but he's also able to play 2 gaps with that length. He's a big piece of their run defense. But now he can also rush the passer. Taking a look at him right here over the center. And he's got 3, he's got 3 sacks this year. But it's the ability to hit the gap, get an edge, and then finish. Big man, we got to concern ourselves
and
with.
7.5 sacks last year for him. A guy with 8.5 sacks already this year is number 5, Kayvon Thibodeau, first-round draft pick last year.
Yeah, and he's coming into his own now. What you can see is his ability to rush, use the long arm, but how quickly he gets off of the ball. He loves an inside move, set up with speed, then he uses his length, and a sack in 2.3 seconds.
So that was on the left side. They lined him up on the right side also.
Line him up on the right side. You know the Dolphins want to pass the ball. They run a lot of tricks. They're going to rush 3. Their defense is going to play games, but it's all contingent upon their pass rushers getting there quickly. All right, so here he goes. Again, that move inside, strong, long arm, and then 2.5, quarterback can't get his feet set.
So we've seen 2 guys up front. How about on the back end of this Giants defense? Their first-round draft pick this year, Deonte Banks.
One of those guys that we like. He's a big, long corner. As you say, he's got 42-inch vertical, 11.4 broad. And what he is, he's starting to get comfortable and instinctive. They have him on Debo and a great break on the ball there.
All right, he was the 24th pick in the draft this year out of Maryland. Got another play from him right here.
Yeah, and again, with all the things they do defensively, it's impressive for a young rookie that was a press corner to be able to do some of these things in zone. The commanders think they've got a shot deep. Then you look at that speed and then him attack the ball over the top, something we have to worry about in the pass game.
All right, just a few things for the Cowboys offense to look at this week. For Will McClay, I'm Bill Jones, and up next here, the coach rejoins us here on the Mike McCarthy Show.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
One of it starts with having the best fans in the world. Cowboy Nation shows up every time, so shout out to them. Extra motivation right there. And then 2, just learning from your mistakes, determined and hungry to get back after it, getting our hands back onto another team to redeem ourselves. So that's what we're looking forward to this weekend.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy here inside the Globe Life studio. The coach rejoins us here. Let's talk about this Giants offense a little bit as the rookie Tommy DeVito will be making his first NFL start. He's come into the game a couple of times in a row now. What do you see when you see this guy out of Illinois? Led Illinois to an 8-5 record last year.
Yeah, definitely. Don't know a whole lot about him, but I think clearly, I think like anything, trying to stay with their base concepts. We're anticipating how they're going to play with him. I do see, probably a little higher threat of the quarterback movement, as far as their attack. But, I think this is, these kind of games, you got to just stay totally engaged in the whole picture, and that's what we're doing defensively.
And part of part of the whole picture for the Giants is Saquon Barkley, and he looks to be healthy and running very well, averaging over 100 yards the last couple of games for them.
Yeah, definitely. Dynamic player. Obviously had a couple weeks off there with the injury, but no, he looks like he's back at full strength. And, his ability to go inside and particularly bounce it outside, excellent receiver. So, yeah, he's a premier player.
Now with 8 games under your belt as far as the run defense goes, and having Jonathan Hankins in there, who, by the way, was a second-round draft pick of the Giants, about 11 years ago now. How nice has it been to have a big Jonathan Hankins in the middle there?
Oh, Hank's awesome. No, he's been a great addition to us last year. Really came right in here, fit right in with the locker room, and obviously has a huge presence for us inside. And he's a big part of our run defense success.
We've talked about Marquise Bell several times this season, and with good reason, the way he's playing. How remarkable is it to see him? We go into training camp thinking, okay, Marquise Bell's a safety. He finds out he's switching to linebacker late in training camp, late August, and then he performs like this. It's really been remarkable.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Obviously played a lot in there in the sub packages, and I think just the thing that's so cool is to see him take that second-year jump. But, it's just like anything with young players. Are they ready for that opportunity? And definitely you could see it building last year on special teams. And, he's played at a very high productive level for us.
What are you seeing around the league as far as defenses and using more safety-type size players in the box like that now?
Well, definitely. I think when you watch the league, there's always trends. And when I always look at it, a defense coordinator, like where they spend their time. Number one on personnel utilization and scheme variation. So, I think what you see is, things that you normally see just in third down are more coming into the first and second down area because, there's matchups, opportunities that our offenses are taking advantage of in the early down. So I just think it's kind of evolves. You're seeing more third down mindsets, 10, 15 years ago that are more involved in the first and second down.
Another guy who's popped here in the last couple of weeks, Sam Williams. You talk about guys making a jump from the first year to the second year. You're really seeing Sam Williams making some plays.
Yeah, definitely. Sam's always been a natural rusher. His pressures, he came in here with the ability to really put pressure on. But I'm just so impressed with what he's done on special teams because those are some things that are fairly new to him, and he's made big plays. So I think we'll be talking about him as gunner for a long time.
Once upon a time, Dexter Manley was a gunner on special teams, and it brought back memories when seeing him.
Hollywood Henderson, Super Bowl.
There you go.
Had 3 tackles.
All right, we wrap up the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Final couple of minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Time for the unsung star of the week. Some people were singing his praises when he found the end zone for the first time in his NFL career. And that would be one Jalen Tolbert, 3 catches, 49 yards, caught the touchdown pass as well. And he talked about, last segment we were talking about players making the jump from first year to second year. You're really seeing it with Jalen now, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud of Jalen, but boy, I'm just so happy for him to have the success because he's worked so hard for it. And I think when you look at paths of young players, even especially at the receiver position, the ability to get on special teams, do some of the dirty work, which he's done also on offense in the run game. And now you see him getting opportunities. So getting better with each opportunity, but more importantly, he's taking advantage of it. So I'm very proud of him.
All right, I'm going to close with a little hypothetical. If someone were, let's say, celebrating a big birthday this weekend, I wonder what would be a great birthday present for that certain someone. Maybe a big victory at AT&T Stadium. What do you think?
Well said. Well said. 6th win would be right on time.
6th win. We won't say what the other big number is.
It's another 6, but yeah, that's
another 6.
That's one I'm not really too excited about.
All right. Well, we're excited about the game on Sunday, and we will see you again next week on the next edition of the Mike McCarthy Show when the Cowboys will be taking on the Carolina Panthers.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by blockchain.com. Trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant. official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.